Very good morning, swimming fans. Welcome here to the Brisbane Aquatic Centre. If you're in the stands or joining us online, courtesy of Swimming Australia, Day 2 heats coming up very shortly here from the Hancock Prospecting Swimming Trials. Kurt Hansen joined by James Magnuson. Maggie, off to a good start last night. A few swimmers already on the team. What were your highlights from last night's final session?
Yeah, it was a big night last night. Highlights for me, obviously, Ariane Titmus, Commonwealth record in the 400 freestyle. And Jack McLaughlin taking down the Olympic champion Matt Horton in the 400 free. Another really impressive swim there.
Yeah, it was solid. Kaylee McEwen as well, that 200 individual medley. Personal best under the 210. Books her spot on that plane to Gwangju in just 5 weeks' time. But we need some more team members, and you want to get to the finals tonight. It starts this morning in these heats, top 8 fastest to go through. All the qualifiers look forward to 5 more big heats coming up, and we start with the women's 100 backstroke.
Yeah, women's 100 back. We've got Emily Seabom looking to qualify for the team again, one of our older statesmen now. She'll be challenged by Kaylee McEwen, of course, who started off the week very strongly. Yeah,
Minna Atherton, obviously Seabom's teammate in there as well, and you spoke about Seabom gunning for her 7th World Championship team. I think made her debut in 2006 as a 14-year-old down in Melbourne.
Unbelievable.
Incredible, isn't it? Obviously then go back the men's 100 backstroke, and no doubt all eyes on Mitch Larkin.
Yeah, Mitch Larkin looking strong coming into this championships. He'll be challenged by Brad Woodward and also William Yang.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, but then 2 big ones. The women's 100 breaststroke. You tell me, it's a massive field. Just to make the final is going to be really interesting and a great opportunity for any of these girls to step up.
Yeah, take your pick in this one. There's big names right across the field. We've got 3 heats stacked this morning, so that'll be a really interesting race. We need someone to stand up and really put their name forward for this event.
Yeah, you look, Jess Hansen, Leston Pickett, Tay McEwen, they're all there, Georgia Bowl, Abby Harkin, Tessa Wallace. Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's a huge field.
Oh, it's going to be interesting and really tight. Like we said, only the top 8 quickest here to race off in the finals this evening. And talking about tight, the one that you don't want to miss this morning, those qualifiers for the 200 freestyle.
Yeah, the men's 200 freestyle this morning is going to be rapid. No semi-final. They've got to be quick this morning to get through to the final. Big names again, Kyle Chalmers, Cameron McAvoy, Tom Fraser-Holmes, Elijah Winnington. It's a big one.
Throw in Jack McLaughlin, obviously won the 400. He looked outstanding, especially in that first 200 last night. You said there, Winnington, Clyde Lewis in there, and Cam McAvoy as well. Oh, it's going to be a beauty. And then we finish off the morning with those 1,500 time finals. There'll be 3 of them. The quickest one will be tonight, but some great experience and opportunity for the girls to race this morning as well.
Yeah, a good shot this morning for the girls to have a hit out, try and get a PB, try and match their times against the girls in the time final tonight.
Yeah, we love it. So coming up just a few minutes' time, great to have you with us here at the Brisbane Aquatic Centre, Day 2 of our Hancock Prospecting Swimming Trials. And let's get our morning session underway. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome to Pool Deck our technical officials for this heat session. And let's meet our team. Firstly, our referees for this session. Our referee for the men's events from Western Australia, Jackie McNamara. Referee for the women's events from Queensland, Alan Smith. And our starters for this session. Our starter for the men's events from Queensland, David Gregory. And our starter for the women's events from Queensland, Steve Carsley. And we'd also like to welcome and thank our technical manager for this meet from Western Australia, Kay Bolger. We now invite the technical officials to please take their seats. So just a few minutes away, I said in that preview, great to have you with us if you're online, courtesy of Swimming Australia as well. And you can hit up the website there and follow the links, and also the replays up there on YouTube, also on the Facebook site and that 7+ app. And you won't miss any of the action. 5 events coming up, and really is an hour of power. And Maggie, great way to start your Monday if you're at work, maybe logging on and put the headphones in, or get a sneaky look at the computer. You can minimise it, make sure the boss isn't watching.
Yeah, hide the laptop from the boss. Don't let him see what you're watching, but should have some good racing this morning. It would be a great way to start the week. Unfortunately, up here in Queensland, we don't have the long weekend this weekend, so looks like all the kids are at school today, so hopefully we've got some viewers down in New South Wales watching the racing.
Yeah, no excuses in New South Wales, and enjoying a public holiday down there, and yeah, why not? Said it's been a fantastic day one last night, and those highlights, obviously the Commonwealth record to Ariane Titmus in that 400 freestyle, dropping 31 100ths of a second off her own time, a 3:59.35, and Kaylee McEwen, first time ever sub 2:10 for her 200 individual medley to book her spot on the team, and 4th fastest Australian in history. They were really the two big swims. And then, Jack McLaughlin, that 400 freestyle, also was a treat, and we'll look forward to seeing what he can produce in that men's 200 a little later in this morning's Heats program. You see the program back there on the screen, just the 5 races, and really no semis, Maggie, no room for mistakes this morning.
Yeah, that's right, particularly in a couple of events this morning that we're going to see, like the women's 100 breaststroke and the men's 200 freestyle. We've got absolutely stacked fields, so they're going to really have to be on their game this morning if they want to get in that final.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's please get our Day 2 Heats program underway. Welcome to Pool Deck, Event 6. It's the women's 100 metres backstroke. There'll be 4 heats for this event. Behind the blocks, the competitors in Heat 1. In racing, our first event of the day, and just the 2 swimmers in the water. As always, the swimmers' names, lane assignments can be found on the scoreboard. And to the left of screen, if you're watching online, don't forget across social media, hashtag Ready to Race, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Let us know your thoughts. So you'll see Mia Rolfe of Carlisle and Emily Waring of Loretto Aquatic, both 18 years of age. Rolfe turning there the first 50, 30.90, and Maggie, just an opportunity for some of these youngsters to get some race experience here at trials, and those seeded heats coming up a little later on.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for these girls, rubbing shoulders with some of the best swimmers in the world in the warm-up pool and seeing how they prepare. Bodes very well for them later in their careers, as we see a pretty strong heat swim here. Yeah, so coming down there in lane 4 will be Mia Rolfe of Carlisle. 104.84.
official results there from Heat 1 now being displayed on the scoreboard. And behind the blocks now we have the swimmers in Heat 2. So the first of our seeded heats, and yeah, qualifying spots up for grabs now, well and truly. And no Sean Whitaker there in lane 5, but definitely Minna Atherton there, 19 years of age, and Maggie, a training partner of Emily Seabaum, and it definitely makes you a better racer and competitor, doesn't it, when you've got someone world-class that you're with every morning and every afternoon in the pool?
Yeah, absolutely. She would have spent a lot of time mirroring her racing off MC Bomb. As you can see, she had a really strong start there in first 50. Also very strong over the 50 backstroke Minna Atherton. It may even be her best event. She looks a league above in this heat here. She's really making a statement in this first of the seeded heats this morning.
Yeah, obviously under the watchful eye of David Lush there at the Brisbane Grammar Club. And Atherton and Seabaum, the two standouts. And under the flags here, it's going to be a very impressive heat swim. And gee, very impressive, 59.25, sub-minute.
That's a PB there for Minna Atherton. So she's really made a statement ahead of those next two heats.
Really feeling it, so all smiles. And that looked really cruisy too. So equal 4th fastest Australian all time with that swim with Kaylee McEwen there, so it just goes to show.
Let's see how the girls in the next two heats react to that.
Yeah, 9/100ths off her own lifetime best, so great result. And in the water now, heat 3. So, wow, Atherton throws it down. A new personal best, 4th fastest Australian in history right there in that qualifier. And then into this one, and well, Kaylee McEwen, one of the highlights of last night, a personal best for her, 4th fastest Australian in that 200 individual medley, and already looking good down this first 50 here in her qualifier.
Yeah, it's often a pretty tough backup after having an exciting night the night before. She wouldn't have had the best sleep after posting that time last night and qualifying for the World Championship. She would have been pretty excited. So need to blow out a few cobwebs here this morning and try and loosen up a bit, get a really good restful day so she can swim fast again tonight.
Yeah, the pressure off though for her, which is a great way to start the meet. First event on the team, locked it away, and then now you're playing with house money and get to really unload, and she's looking good here as well. Down to touch, 10074.
They look comfortable.
Yeah, it was a nice swim from McEwen, like you said, backing up from a stellar performance last night. Just await the referee's clearance and those official results from that 3rd heat. we go. Official results for Heat 3 now being displayed there. Kaylee McEwen takes it out, and behind the blocks now, the swimmers in the fourth and final heat of this women's 100 metres backstroke. This is it, last heat, last chance to qualify, and plenty of talent in this one as well. See Emily Seaborn, we spoke in the preview, the most experienced competitor here at trials and gunning for her 7th World Championship team, and I think that'll be a record throughout Australia, that's for sure, after making her debut back in 2006 as a 14-year-old. And Maggie, good talent as well. Holly Barrett, obviously some great front-end speed, and Maddie Wilson looks like she's been doing some dryland work as well. Looks very strong, and great to see her back also.
Yeah, this is a strong heat here. It'll be interesting to see how this pans out. I'm sure Emily will want lane 4 for the final tonight, so she won't let her squad mate get off easily after that fast swim in the first of the seeded heats. She's looking really strong here as she moves away from the field this last 25 metres. Let's see what she looks like under the flags, if she kicks hard or just backs off.
Yeah, coming down, and it's going to be a pretty solid swim as well, just outside the minute mark, 1:00.26 for the Australian record holder. And quick swimming here in the women's 100 backstroke. And it's going to make for a great final tonight, that's for sure. And
doesn't look like Em was too tired after that one.
No,
she's got a bit in the tank.
Yeah, definitely more to give, and there's the results there from that fourth and final heat. Seabomb pretty comfy, 1:00.26, and she'll be in that final from lane 5 tonight, alongside her Brisbane Grammar club mate in Minna Atherton, and we'll get the result summary in. Here we go. We've got 9 there, but we'll only take the top 8 through, and Minna Atherton leads the way. Lifetime best there, 59.25, 4th fastest Australian in history. Emily Seaborn right there, gunning for her 7th Worlds team. Kaylee McEwen in career best form after that win, the 200 IM last night, throwing Maddie Wilson, Holly Barrett. That's a good top 5, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a strong final tonight. Minna Atherton's really thrown down the gauntlet this morning. She actually looked pretty comfortable too, so I think she could even look at dropping below that 59-second mark. We know Em's going to be fast, trying to qualify for her 7th World Champs, and Kaylee McEwen's riding on a wave of confidence after that big swim last night.
Yeah, so Toto Wong there from Unattached won't go through, so Talia Thornton will fill that final spot. And Brisbane Grammar, three club mates in the final as well, so credit to the program there, and obviously Lushy will be pretty happy.
Yeah, Lushy's obviously doing something right over there at Brisbane Grammar. Got some good backstroke technique and training systems in place, so he'll be happy with that. It's a great environment to have 3 people in a national final in your training squad, so I'm sure they bounce off each other, and that'd definitely be helpful for all of them there at Brisbane Grammar.
So from the women's 100 backstroke, we go to the men's 100 back coming up very shortly, and obviously plenty of big names to look out for, but none more so than Mitch Larkin, and just so consistent, isn't he? Short course, long course, he's always thereabouts when the big races are coming up.
Yeah, he's a consummate professional, Mitch Larkin. Always prepares well for big meets, always in shape, always swimming fast. So I expect nothing less from him today than a pretty strong heat, and then really quick final tonight.
Yeah, plenty more to look out for there. Bradley Woodward back after his effort in the Commonwealth Games and last year, and then William Yang as well. So we saw Emily Seaborn. We'll see her in action tonight in that final of the women's 100 backstroke. And we'll move on to the next event, and please make welcome to pool deck now. It's event 7 and the heats of the men's 100 metres backstroke. So there'll be 4 heats for this event. Behind the blocks, swimmers in heat 1. So the first of 4 heats in the water. Men's 100 backstroke, and those seeded heats will be coming up next. So again, these boys just a chance to have a big hit out and try and lower their own personal best. And just after a representative now for Sophie Caldwell of Nunawading and Gabrielle Seacombe from Acacia Bayside. So representative from either of those two swimmers, come see our team on pool deck immediately. That's Sophie Caldwell of Nunawading and Gabrielle Seacombe of Acacia Bayside.
We see a good match race here in the first heat of the men's 100 backstroke. Very even across the pool. These guys can hopefully push themselves towards a PB this morning, knock themselves up the rankings.
And coming down under the flags will be Lucas Himenewick of Chandler, local lad, 58.40. A little bit quicker than his qualifiers, so always nice to improve on those times. So just awaiting for those official results from that first one, and about to come through. And there they are. And now results of Heat 1. And behind the blocks now we have the competitors in Heat 2. So away we go, showtime here, the first of 3 seeded heats. Only the top 8 to go through, and see Bradley Woodward there. Standout year last year for him, wasn't it, Maggie? Commonwealth Games, and that confidence and that belief that he can be a part of this Australian team is probably going to take him up another level. Yeah, massive year for Brad. He's better known for the 200 backstroke, but I'm sure he'd be looking to impress in this 100 backstroke to start the week off strong. He looked really good down that first 50. I actually expected Zach and Surdy to lead that around first 50. So let's see what his back end looks like. This will see how he's faring for that 200 backstroke as well. He looks really strong here. Yeah, great front end speed. And you can see he already opened up almost a body length. Having a good race out there as well. Kevin Callumber of Rockingham. Down to touch it will be Bradley Woodward. 54.75. Not a bad heat swim. Yeah, strong heat swim. Looks really strong that first 50. I'd say backed off a bit that last 25. He's not showing us whether he's tired or not, so it's hard to tell. But I think he was pretty cruisy there. Yeah, first we've seen of him at the meet, and always nice to get that first race out of the way. Let's get some adjusted times there, and we'll have our official results there from Heat 2 very shortly. Looks like we've got him there on the screen there, but Bradley Woodward 54.75, nice little heat swim, and Kevin Callumber a couple of seconds back there, Western Australian from the Rockingham Club. Behind the blocks now, the swimmers in Heat 3. So in this third heat, looks like there'll be no Peter Mills there in lane 5. But out there, William Yang, we spoke about him in the preview, just 20 years of age at Sydney University under that Watch for Live of Bobby. And yeah, what do you know about him? What can you tell us, Maggie?
Yeah, look, having Bobby Hurley as his coach, an ex-Australian team member himself, he'll definitely be under good hands. His skills look really good here in this race. Great start, great turn. Bobby spoke to us earlier today and told us he's got a massive appetite for a young man. Eats a huge amount each day. It's obviously fueled him pretty well because he's looking very strong here down this back 50 of the 100 back.
Yeah, we don't get into that 53-second timing, so seem to get under 55-second mark there, just outside 55.11. So just slightly slower than the last heat.
Yeah, probably a little sluggish that heat. This last and seeded heat, we're gaining a lot of confidence from that.
And the results there, William Yang should be enough to see him through to the final tonight. And we turn our attention now behind the blocks. We have the swimmers in the fourth and final heat of this men's 100 backstroke. So this is it, last heat in the water. And Mitch
It'll be interesting to see how the swimmers in this last heat react to the first two heats not being overly fast. They know that anything sub 55 will automatically qualify them for the final. Trav Marnie, not usually known as a 100 backstroker, looking pretty good down this first lap. Obviously diversifying into a few different events. You see the skill there of Mitch Larkin on that turn. Breaking away from the rest of the field. Great turn and underwater. That's what makes him world class.
Yeah, he gets through a lot of work, that's for sure, and had a fantastic year last year, and loves traveling as well, all on the World Cup tours, and so successful, so consistent. And down to touch there, 53.18.
Wow.
Well, there's a statement.
Yep, there's your statement for the morning. Mitch Larkin showing those young bucks who's the boss in this pool. That is a quick swim. He'll take in a lot of confidence out of that for tonight's final.
So yeah, the Commonwealth record holder with a nice swim for the morning, just outside that 53-second barrier. And just a little over a second outside his own Commonwealth record, so great heat swim for him.
Yeah, huge heat swim. He was obviously feeling pretty good this morning. That definitely would have blown the cobwebs out. I reckon we can probably expect him to go sub 53 tonight, which is a very impressive swim.
So yeah, we'll get that result summary up there and see our top 8 qualifiers to go through to the final. There we go. Mitch Larkin leads the way, like I said, just a little over a second outside his own Commonwealth record. Bradley Woodward, Travis Marnie, William Yang. No real surprises. Everyone that you think would be there tonight is in with a chance. Yeah,
no surprises there. Looks like it'll probably be a race in 2. It'll be interesting to see if Bradley Woodward can get under that QT as well. That QT being
53.76, yeah.
53.76. So not an easy QT, but Mitch Larkin looking strong. Hopefully Brad Woodward can dip under that tonight as well.
Yes, good stuff. So from the 100 backstroke up next, we have the women's 100 breaststroke, and what a race this one is going to be. And certainly names all over the shop. Jess Hanson, Liston Pickett, Tame McEwen, Georgia Bowl in there, Abby Harkin, Tessa Wallace, Jenna Strauch. It's going to be a great one. We'll bring them out now. Welcome to Pool Deck Event 8 Heats of the women's 100 breaststroke. away. First of 5 heats in the water. Women's 100 breaststroke, and I think, Maggie, looking at not just today's program, but the entire program, this is a tough one to pick.
Really tough one to pick. A lot of it's going to come down to who's in form right now, who's confident, who's been training well in the lead up to this meet. Take your pick from about 8 names in this, all of who have represented Australia at some point or another. So stacked field. It's going to come down to who's feeling the best on the day.
Yeah, you make a very good point. They've all had their chance for the Australian team in one way or another, and especially in the shadows of Tokyo, it's really about who's hitting their straps at the right time, and it starts right here, right now.
Yeah, it's also a very important event for our women's 4x100 medley relay. We really need someone swimming strong in this women's 100 breast if we're a shot at winning that gold medal and beating the US. So it's an important year for someone to stand up and be counted for in this women's 100 breaststroke.
And coming down to touch here, a tight finish in this first heat. Looks like it will be lane 2, Chloe Mack from Southside Aquatics, just 15 years of age. 1:14.76. And results there from that first heat. They're on the board. And beside the blocks now, we have the swimmers in heat 2. Second heat in the water. And the seeded heats coming up after this, 3 more to follow, and only 8 spots available in that final tonight. And big opportunity for these girls, swimmers, lanes and names there on the board. Great opportunity for these girls to try and produce something, and definitely all chasing personal bests.
Yeah, these early heats are all about getting the best out of the girls in these morning swims. They'll be trying to better themselves in the Australian rankings, looking at getting qualifying times for meets in the upcoming years. And it's a great chance to get some experience racing against some of the girls we've got coming up in these later heats, as we see this heat almost break into 2 groups here.
Yeah, they're spread out all across the pool, but maybe in the inside there. Tiani Gilmore, USC Spartans, bottom of screen. Just have it, and looks like she will. Gilmore, 1:11.96. Solid swim.
It's a great swim from the outside lane.
So here we go, things starting to get serious now. The first of our 3 seeded heats. And this is where your finalists are going to come from. Tame McEwen in 5, Liston Pickett in 4. Obviously, 2 that stand out here, Maggie, and 2 that have represented Australia. Yeah,
Liston Pickett's been in or around the Australian team for a very long time now. She's looking really good down this first 50 metres. She had a strong year last year, representing Australia again at the Commonwealth Games. Let's see if Taylor can back end this one. A little better known for a 200 breaststroke, so you'd expect her to be fit. And the visitor in lane 3, Jessica Eriksson, girlfriend of Thomas Fraser Holmes, looking very strong down this second 50 as well.
Yeah, good to have some visitors here as well, and see Eriksson from Sweden, the 25-year-old. It still is Pickett out in front and coming home strongly as well. McEwen in lane 5, but will be Pickett on the touch. And good heat swim, 108.77. And McEwen there, 109.34. As time should see them go through to the final tonight. Official results there from that third heat, now being displayed on the board. And behind the blocks very shortly as we take a look at those results from that third heat there on screen. We'll go to heat 4. And so our fourth heat in the water. And apologies for those watching online. Try and get those results up on screen to let you know. But yeah, Pickett with the fastest so far, and then back in the water, Abby Harkin after an individual medley yesterday, and now back in the breaststroke today, and throw in Tessa Wallace, Jenna Strauch as well. They're all battling it out for this final.
Yeah, this should be another close heat. A few girls backing up from races last night. Just looking here at the qualifying time of 106.81. Going into the heats this morning, we've only got Jessica Hansen with a time under that QT. So these girls will need a big performance tonight in the final if they want any chance of qualifying for the team. It's a quick qualifying time, 106.81, so they're going to have to really step up tonight.
Yeah, that time would have been to make the final at the World Championships 2 years ago. And good little battle here in this one. Looks like coming home stronger. Jenna Strauch there, the black cap of Bond. To touch, 108.73. Instead of Abby Harkin there and Tessa Wallace, both in the 109s. Official results were there on the screen, and behind the blocks now we have the swimmers in the 5th and final heat of this women's 100 breaststroke. Last heat, last chance to qualify. And probably 5 that have locked themselves away. I think Pickett, McEwen, Wallace, Harkin and Strauch. Maybe 3 or more spots. Well, it's in their hands, isn't it, Maggie? If you want to step up, you want to, go in that 108, 107 territory, you'll more than happily book a centre lane for tonight's final.
Yeah, that's right. These heats are wide open this morning. No one's really thrown down the gauntlet yet. We'll see what Jess Hansen comes up with in this final heat. Georgia Bowles sticking with her now. This should hopefully push them along for quite a quick heat swim.
Yeah, they've skipped away from the rest of the field here, and this has the making of maybe being the quickest of the heats. Jess Hansen, 23-year-old from Nunawading. Great last 12 months she's had, and down to take this one out. Yeah, good time. Good time, 107.33.
That's a good heat swim from both those girls. That's what we wanted to see.
And there we go, yeah, Georgia Bowl there as well, 107.94. So by far the 2 quickest across the 5 heats, and they'll start from lanes 4 and 5 in the final tonight. Like you said, nice to see Jess there just outside that 107 mark. There's official results there on the scoreboard. And we'll get a result summary very shortly. Check out the top 8 qualifiers. Go through to tonight's final, and there they are. Hansen, Bowles, George, Pickett, Harkin, Wallace, McEwen. Ericsson will miss, and it'll be Deacon of Nuttawading that sneaks in for Nuttawading in lucky lane 8.
Yeah, it's going to be a close race tonight. Again, like we said, the qualifying time, 1:06.81. So we'll need those girls to rest up today, swim a bit faster tonight. Hopefully, with all of them there in that final, they can push each other and drop under that QT so we can get a couple more on the plane to world champs.
Yeah, great heat swim from Jess Hansen, and I think on that form, looks like I reckon she'll really push to go under that 1:07 mark tomorrow night. So from the women's 100 breaststroke, and definitely one they've been waiting for, the men's 200 freestyle, and Maggie, what an event this one should be.
Yeah, this is going to be a close one. Again, a number of big names. We've got people coming from different events. We've got Matt coming from 400 down, Jack McLaughlin coming from 400 down, Kyle Chalmers and Cam McAvoy coming from the 100 freestyle up. So these guys all meet in the middle for the 200 freestyle, which always makes for an exciting race.
Yeah, it should be a good one. Only 8 spots up, and not only spots in the final tonight, but racing off for those relay spots as well. So a lot to get stuck into for these boys. And there you go, Kyle Chalmers, and probably highlighted from the Australian Championships just 2 months ago, that PB in the 100 freestyle, and he is in career best form. Yeah,
he's in great form. It'll be interesting to see how he looks in this 200, whether he's been focusing more on that 100, looking at defending his Olympic title, or if he's been putting a bit of time into this 200. Quite different training regime, so it'll be interesting to see how he balances the two. We'll get a good indication in this 200 free how his form is leading into the 100 later in the week.
Yeah, we'll be coming up in the last heat, but let's get them out here on pool deck, and please welcome out here Event 9, it's heats of the men's 200 metres freestyle. So we'll have a little delay to the start here, Maggie. We've got someone lost their cap in the pool, so we'll get a swimmer or a lifeguard to go in and fetch it very shortly. It does happen.
It does happen. Unfortunate for the swimmer that it happened to. Hope it didn't slow them down too much. As we have a little bit more of a think about this 200 freestyle, it'll be interesting to see how hard they have to go tonight to make that final. We could need something as fast as a 147 low, 146 high. There's just that much depth in this event at the moment.
Well, how many times we saw it? We saw it at Com Games Trials last year. Some of the boys just sneaking into the final. Lanes 1, lane, there was a Mac racing in lane 8, and they're pulling out wins there from those outside, and Kyle as well. I think they were bookending in lanes 1 and 8.
Yeah, the same as I spoke about yesterday with the 400 freestyle. 200 freestyle is a very tough event to swim in the morning. There's no such thing as an easy swim in a 200 freestyle, so you've really got to lay it on the line. And no one's ever feeling their freshest or fastest for these morning swims. So the boys have got to guts it out a bit this morning if they want to get one of those centre lanes for the final. Particularly those boys that had the 400 freestyle last night, they'll be feeling a bit sluggish, a bit tired. So they're going to want to blow some cobwebs out here, and they can't rest on their laurels and think they're just going to cruise through to that final.
So yeah, we're just waiting for a cap to be fetched out of the pool, but great to have you with us here on this, Queen's Birthday Monday for those in New South Wales, not a public holiday here in Queensland.
Yeah, they'd be feeling ripped off up here. Have you got your Speedos on you, Kurt? Can we get you to jump in and grab that cap?
Well, is there any swimmer out there that wants to just help us out? But still to come in the program this morning as well, after these men's 200 freestyle, we've got those two-timed, we've got a volunteer. Yeah, two-timed qualifiers, or timed finals for the 1500 freestyle, and then that big time final coming up later tonight. And Kia Melverton would be, really happy with how she went on night 1, that 400 freestyle, and then and then throw in then Maddie Goff, and then open water star in Karina Lee and Lani Pallister as well. That's going to be a good final.
Yeah, all the pressure off for Kia after qualifying in that 400 free last night. So she'll be looking for a strong swim as we've got the cap out of the water. I think we're ready to go.
Yeah, so behind the blocks now, heat 1 on this men's 200 metres freestyle. Away we go, first of 5 heats in this men's 200. And those final 3 heats, the seeded ones are going to be red hot, that's for sure. But these boys, well, they've picked a tough event, that's for sure. A lot of them just teenagers though. Elliot Webber in there, just 16 years of age. Alexander Bell, UWA West Coast in lane 7 in this one, just 17. And it's the same with men compared to women, especially in swimming, Maggie. It takes them a bit longer to mature as well. You see some of the girls can really hit their straps at 15, 16, 17. The boys probably a little later, in early 20s and further. Yeah,
a lot of it depends on what sort of age they start to mature and start to fill out. Some guys don't hit their peak till their mid-20s. But of course we saw Kyle Chalmers at the Olympics at 18 and on top of the world. So yeah, it just depends, you know, when they fill out, when they finish growing, and when they're comfortable in their bodies. As we see this field here break into 2, a couple of front runners. They'll be chasing PBs in these early heats, trying to climb the rankings.
Yeah, Joseph Jackson, just 19 years of age, local lad here, Brisbane Grammar, just in front there in lane 4. He turns 24.57, 50 to swim. Also Brendan Cook, his Brisbane Grammar clubmate, right alongside him. So 2 boys going for it here.
This is a training run for these 2. I'm sure they've done this 1,000 times in training, eyeballing each other down this last 50.
Yeah, pushing hard under the flags and try and get as close to that 150 mark as they can. And they come down to touch. And it will be Joseph Jackson there, the 19-year-old. 153.81. So official results there for that first heat. And behind the blocks now, the swimmers in heat 2. Second heat in the water. And I said 3 seeded heats to come, so these boys know they've got nothing to lose here. This is their final this morning. We're giving it everything they've got. And good to see out there Nick Sloman in lane 4, 21-year-old from Noosa and 2-time Australian surf race champ, and obviously has had a phenomenal year in the open water as well.
Yeah, he's obviously got a bit of speed too. He's able to drop right down to 200 freestyle. We should see him come through strongly in the second 100. These boys want to be at least down around PB pace if there are any chance of progressing to tonight, but it's good to see them all putting on a good match race this morning. This will boost their performances if they can all stick together and try and push each other this second 100.
Of course, the open water there at the World Championships as well, and obviously in Tokyo 2020. And Sloman and Lee have both had brilliant years there on the World Cup circuit as well, and with some great results, and really a big chance in that open water on the world stage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those events where on the day, really anyone can win. It depends on the conditions, the way the race unfolds. But yeah, for sure, he's a huge chance this year.
And they're coming down this 4th and final lap. Second heat. Matthew Davis there, Palm Beach, Currumbin. Down there on the Gold Coast, 23-year-old. Having a big dig out there in lane 6. Looks like he's going to hang on. And does so. Davis stops the clock at 1:52.69. And the results there for that second heat of the men's 200 freestyle. Davis takes it out ahead of Connor Sims and Nick Sloman. And behind the blocks now we have the swimmers in heat 3 of the men's 200 free. So here we go. Things get serious now and into that sub 150 category. The first of 3 seeded heats coming up here in this 200 freestyle. This is what we've come to watch. And probably headlined here, Jack McLaughlin, Maggie, off the back of last night. Well, not just last night, but yesterday morning. He set the tone early with the heat of that 400 freestyle, backed it up last night with the victory and booked his spot on that World Championship team.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Jack McLaughlin goes in this 200 freestyle. The first 200 of his 400 freestyle last night looked really strong. He looks like he's got a bit more speed than we've seen in previous years. Elijah Winnington looking really strong down this first 100 here, no doubt wanting to redeem himself a little bit after what wasn't his best performance in the 400 last night.
Yeah, probably just, it looked a little bit out of sorts, a little bit out of rhythm in the final last night, especially after looking so smooth in his heat as well yesterday morning in that 400 freestyle. And it looks like he's come back here, put that to one side and come back and wants to have a really good heat swim in this 200, set the record straight.
Yeah, he'll definitely have a point to prove. He'll want to qualify for an individual swim for the World Championship. So this is his opportunity now in this 200 free. As we see them turn at the 150 mark. I expect both to be pretty strong through the last 50, coming from that 400 down. So Jack McLaughlin looks really good again this morning. His stroke's looking so much longer this year than I've seen in past seasons.
Yeah, whatever zone, he's in the absolute zone at the moment. He's in the bubble, so smooth, and I think you make a great point. His strokes never look better, and a beautiful fourth and final lap here for McLaughlin is going to see him come down and take it out. And look at that, 1:47.52. Great heat swim.
Yeah, it's a good heat swim.
He's just in great touch.
Nothing too fast there. I think the last couple of heats will be feeling confident after seeing that.
But obviously backing up from 2 class 400s yesterday into a 200 this morning. And,
yeah, that's a really tough backup.
Yeah, and shows impressive. So McLaughlin takes out this heat, 1:47.52 ahead of Winnington, 1:48.11, and Wesley Roberts there, our visitor from the Cook Islands, 1:49.93. On the blocks now, the swimmers in heat 4. Here we go, just doesn't get any easier. And you take a look at this field, and obviously very exciting stuff. Mac Horton, he swam strongly last night, didn't look fantastic in the heats of the 400 yesterday, but pushed it hard last night and got some reward there in that 400, finishing second behind McLaughlin, and obviously throw into this one Clyde Lewis, Tommy Fraser-Holmes, and they all want to be there when it counts.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Tom Fraser-Holmes goes this morning. This is his first qualifying event for Australia after a little bit of time out. He's our second fastest 200 freestyler ever. And, you know, we want him part of that 4x2 team, but it'd be great to see Tom get an individual swim in the 200 free at the World Championship. So watch him closely over there in lane 3.
So the turn there, Clyde Lewis in front, 51.67 ahead of Horton, 52.55, and Fraser-Holmes, 52.91. Lewis got a taste of the Australian team now, and he doesn't want to let it go.
Yeah, he's like a lot of the young guys on the team at the moment. He had a big year last year. Obviously, it was a really successful Commonwealth Games for the Australian swim team, so a lot of these young guys are riding on confidence at the moment, and as we see Clyde have a huge third 50 here. This is going to be a pretty quick morning swim. He may be making a statement in this second of the seeded heats as he pulls away from Mac and Tom.
He's having a big go here. Clyde Lewis, and then Horton just trying to reel him in a little bit now. Definitely having a good dig, that's for sure. Close to that 146 barrier, just outside it on 147.10. So nice heat swim there from Lewis. We'll take it just ahead of Horton and Fraser Holmes.
Yeah, the boys not leaving anything in the tank this morning. You can see some red faces. That was hard work for a morning swim.
So results there you can see on screen. Clyde Lewis takes out that fourth heat on 147.10. Just quickest swim of the morning so far, ahead of Mac Horton and Thomas Fraser Holmes. And behind the blocks now we have our swimmers in this fifth and final qualifier for the men's 200 metres freestyle. So last heat, last chance to qualify, and definitely Maggie stacked. McAvoy, Chalmers, Graham, the three big boys in the middle lanes.
Yeah, this is probably the most stacked heat of the morning. I think Alex Graham had a breakout year last year, really started to realise his potential and started to fulfil that. If you watch this 200 here, even though Kyle Chalmers is a 100 freestyler, he swims this very differently to most other sprinters. He'll take this first 100 quite easy and really storm home in that last lap. Alex Graham looks good here. Just happy to lead it out this first 100 as Kyle and Cam sit just off his hip.
Yeah, great pampacks there for Graham, and busted out that 146.3, and as he turns in front there, 51.27, and that would have given him a lot of confidence on a world stage as well.
Yeah, he'd be confident coming into this meet. Again, though, he'd want that individual swim, so there is a bit of pressure on in this 200 freestyle with such a stacked field. As we see him keep pushing the pace that third 50, expect Kyle here to have a big last 50. And again, all these boys will want the middle lane for the final tonight. A 200 freestyle is an event where you want to be able to see where your competitors are, so you don't want to get stuck in those outside lanes for the final.
So coming down the fourth and final lap, pacing so critical, and you can see that all too familiar blue cap of Kyle Chalmers, now the Olympic 100 champ, starting to rev up, closing the gap in on Alex Graham in 5, but Graham hanging tough, and it's going to be right thereabouts around that 147 mark, maybe even quicker. Wow, 146.14.
Great heat swim, that's what we wanted to see.
Huge heat swim there, and that looks like a new PB there for Alex Graham as well.
Yeah, the boys certainly didn't back off in that one. It was a race right to the wall. Everyone wanted lane 4. Alexander Graham claims first blood in the men's 200 freestyle.
Well, impressive. 8th fastest Australian all time there, so just bounces up the rankings, overtakes David McKeon and slots in just behind Pat Murphy. So that goes to show how quick that was. So good swim there. And Kyle Chalmers as well, not a bad heat swim. So we'll have the scoreboard there, and we'll get that results summary back up very shortly. See the top 8. It's going to be such a great final tonight, and definitely one you don't want to miss, whether you're here at the Brisbane Aquatic Centre or watching on the live stream courtesy of Swimming Australia or on our website, Facebook, or the 7plus app. All the big names will be there, and we'll get that flick over. And there we go. Graham leads the way. Kyle Chalmers, Clyde Lewis, Cam McAvoy, Jack McLaughlin, Mac Horton, Elijah Winnington, and Thomas Fraser Holmes sneaks in.
That is a stacked final. We've got all the big names there. They weren't overly fast heats. I thought they might be a bit quicker than that, but don't forget, these guys will want an individual swim. We'll take 4 to 6 swimmers for the relay, but it means a lot to have an individual swim for your country. So I expect Kyle Alex Graham, Clyde, Cam, Jack McLaughlin. It's going to be a really tight race tonight, and they're all going to be gunning for that top 2.
Oh, my goodness. You couldn't ask for anything more. That's what it's all about here at the trials, and the best of the best hitting the water in that men's 200 freestyle on tonight's finals program. Definitely going to be a highlight of not just the night, but the meet. And up next, please make welcome to pool deck. It's our time finals here for the women's 1500 metres freestyle. And away we go, the first of our 2-time finals this morning, this women's 1500 freestyle, 30 laps to the pool. So just to explain it to those at home or watching the stands how it works, this is a final for all these competitors, Maggie. We'll have the 2 slower 1500s this morning, and that third and last time final for the quickest qualifiers will be in tonight's finals program.
Yeah, these girls will be posting a time to compete with the girls that will swim in the time final tonight. Good opportunity to push them up the rankings. It's always a tough heat swim, the 1500 free. Not that I've ever done one, but I've watched plenty sitting in the stands over the years. So let's hope these girls are feeling good this morning. They can blow some cobwebs out this first 100 and then build into a nice, strong 15.
Well, it's a big part of swimming, isn't it? You need to step up at some point, whether it be national titles or be in an international meet where you've got to deliver a 1500 in the morning, or?
Yeah, one of the toughest things about the Olympics and World Championships program is when you add in that 800 or 1500, you've got a heat swim. So for someone like Ariane Titmus, if she was looking to push up towards the 1500, she actually adds 3 kilometres of racing to her program.
Yeah,
so it's
like
not
you
as
make
simple.
a good point there too. Not just 3 kilometres, but 3 racing kilometres, which is a whole nother level.
3 tough kilometres, that's right. And it's the same for someone like Mac Horton, who's better known for his 400, but also does the 1500. He adds in 3 kilometres to that race week, which just makes it a huge week, huge toll on the body. And you see for a lot of these swimmers, they only have 1 or 2 good 1500s in them per season because it is just such a grueling event.
Yeah, it's not easy, that's for sure. Australia was just such a fantastic history in distance freestyle, and especially that 1500 freestyle, and very excited to see the 1500 officially on the program now for the Olympics for the first time next year. And obviously it's been a part of the World Championship program for a long time as they go through their inner speech of Bond at just 16 years of age. And Fenella Gibbs-Beale in lane 5 there for Noosa, 15, and Lauren Maguire of Good Shepherd, 16. So these girls, just teenagers, and for a lot of them, their first major meet, major competition, and it's a great opportunity to get that adrenaline up and try and see if you can push yourself towards a personal best.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, it's a huge opportunity to qualify for a national championships, a world championship trial event like this. So it's a huge achievement just for these girls to be here at 15 and 16 years of age. It's going to be a tough old race out in lane 3 for Beach, as she's got no one in the lanes around her. So she's going to be swimming this one all on her own, as the other girls look to be pacing off each other. It'll be interesting to see how this one pans out.
And it definitely comes in cycles, different events and different races. As the girls turn there once again, and Beach leads the way, 3:26.20. And just that resurgence now in women's middle distance and distance freestyle. You go back 30 years and It was absolutely heaving in the 80s, wasn't it? Right here in Brisbane, and the Commonwealth Games in '82 in this very pool, and headlined by Tracy Wickham and Sheridan Burge Lopez, and then you go further on, Janelle Elford, Julie McDonald, and then probably went off the boil a little bit, and then now it's come back once again with Ariane Titmus, Kia Melverton, and the girls coming up later this evening. Obviously, Melverton, Madeline Goff, her TSS aquatic teammate. Karina Lee comes down in distance from the open water, and obviously Janelle Elford, or Janelle Pallister's daughter, now in there as well, in Lani Pallister for that next generation.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how events work in waves. It's almost like when younger swimmers have role models in those events at an open level, they strive to be like them, so they start to do the same events, and then you get a strong generation of swimmers come through in that given event. I'm sure now that we've got Ariane Titmus, on the world stage in those middle to long distance freestyle events, more and more young swimmers will want to be doing the same events like her, and we'll just see those events get stronger and stronger.
So the girls here getting through their work and about to be 1/3 of the way through their race at the 500 metre mark. And just thoughts as well on bringing the 1500 into the Olympics and the 800 for the men, just to get that unification across, obviously, the Worlds and Pan Pacs as well.
Yeah, obviously they wanted to expand the swimming program. It is already a pretty extensive program, so it's an interesting choice. I think personally I'd love to also see the 50 metre form strokes added to the program. If we're going to add in distance events, I'd like to balance it out by adding in some sprint events as well, but I am a sprinter, so I'm probably a little bit biased.
What about a 50 underwater?
Well, now that they're adding surfing and skating and all these different events into the Olympics, what about an egg and spoon race underwater?
Well, they've got definitely got some new events coming to Tokyo, don't they?
Yeah, they're certainly diversifying with the Olympic Games. But, swimming is one of the original sports. There's a history and a tradition to it. So, yeah, it is interesting that they've added more events, and they've also added the mixed relays. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Do countries place a lot of importance on these new events, or do they focus on them in the lead up for the preparation? Yeah, a lot of questions to be answered.
Well, I think once it's an Olympic event, it's on, and it's open slather, and it's certainly going to make it really competitive, and it doesn't matter what it is. There's an Olympic gold medal on the line, and they're really going to do everything they can to win it.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you've got, say, a world-class 100 freestyler like a Kate Campbell or a Kyle Chalmers, now they add in the mixed relay events. You've got your 100 freestyle, your 4x1 free same sex, your 4x1 IM, then your mixed 4x1 free and your mixed 4x1 IM. So suddenly that program gets really crazy if you're a 100 freestyler. And if I'm a Kate Campbell or a Kyle Chalmers, do I place more importance on aiming for that individual 100 freestyle gold, or do I spread myself thin and swim in all those relays and potentially tire myself out for what's already a pretty big week?
It's a lot of races. That's a good point. It definitely makes that program a lot bigger, and sprinters, much like sprinters in athletics as well, very finely tuned, and a little variation here and there can make such a big difference as these girls continue to roll through here. This first of two-time finals coming up this morning, and good effort. Fenella Gibbs-Beale, just 15 years of age from Noosa. And what about this Noosa club? It's all happening up there. Obviously, Karina Lee right there. And
yeah, do you reckon they do a few kilometres up there or what?
And what about JR? He's the immortal. He just still the fittest guy on pool deck. And
yeah,
what an incredible talent and history that he's had in the sport.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a legacy, JR, particularly in these distance freestyle events. He's brought through so many world-class distance freestylers over the years and continues to do so, obviously, up at Noosa now.
Yeah, obviously there with Nick Sloman as well, and just thoughts on that. With distance, you can't dodge it. You got to do the work.
Yeah, there's no way around it in distance swimming. It's there for everyone to see on race day how hard you've worked in the lead up. You can't skip the kilometres. You've got to get those kilometres in the arms and legs, and then it's, I guess, you're on your own once you're out racing in something like a 1500. If you haven't done the work, you will be exposed. So they work really hard, those guys. They spend an extra 3-4 hours a week in the pool than some of us shorter distance swimmers, so they earn everything they achieve in the sport.
So one of the toughest things to do here in swimming, not just a 1500, but a 1500 heat or time final in the morning, and obviously not with a full accompaniment as well. But it just adds to that mental toughness. And they've trained very hard just to get here and qualify for this meet, and they don't want to let this chance go. They want to make the most of this opportunity. And how inspiring and important is it as well when you get a PB, and even I look back at Australian champs and see Kyle Chalmers did a PB in the 100 freestyle. As you get older and as you progress, obviously when you're younger, the PBs drop left, right and centre. You're taken for granted every time you swim, you'll get a PB, but as you get older, they don't get easy to get.
Yeah, that's right. PBs should never be taken for granted for anyone of any age. Any swimmers out there, right from 6 years through to opens, a PB is a huge achievement. And when you get to championships like this, a world championship trials, those PBs start to mean that little bit more. And that feeling of achieving a PB, setting yourself goals at the start of the year, training really hard and then achieving those goals and getting those PBs is really what keeps these swimmers coming back day in, day out, listening to that alarm clock at 4:30 in the morning and getting up and going to training. It's that feeling of achieving something and getting a PB.
Yeah, it definitely makes it worthwhile when you can produce a lifetime best as the skills start to come down to the 1,000-metre mark. 2/3 of the way through this first time final, the women's 1500 freestyle. If you've just joined us online, courtesy of Swimming Australia or 7+, great to have you with us. And a reminder, we'll be back in action tonight for our Day 2 finals program from 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And a big program coming your way at women's 100 backstroke. Emily Seabaum looking to make her 7th consecutive World Championship team, a record by any Dolphin. Kaylee McEwen there backing up. Minna Atherton should be a beauty. Mitch Larkin was impressive this morning in that men's 100 back, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was a great swim from Mitch this morning. He's obviously going to be pushed in the final tonight by Brad Woodward. It'd be great to get two guys under the QT for that event. We'll see how they go tonight, but they both look strong in the heats. Mitch particularly, he looked a class above this morning. He's obviously had a good preparation. And I'd expect him to drop down into the 52-second realm tonight.
Yeah, look, Jess Hansen looked a class above as well in that 100 breaststroke, almost a second quicker than anyone else in the field.
Yeah, she did. She looked really impressive, particularly down that first 50. She'll be looking, again, to get under that qualifying time tonight. Hopefully one of the other girls can be there with her, but I feel like she probably stamped her mark on that event this morning, and she'll be the one to beat for sure going into tonight.
And the event just before this one that took place, those qualifiers for the men's 200 freestyle, we wrote down 8 names, and
all 8 are there.
And they're all there, but you can definitely mix the order any way you want, because the lane assignment pretty irrelevant, isn't it? You just need to produce tonight, and you can win it from any one of those 8 lanes.
Yeah, this race tonight will be across the pool. We've seen in past years guys like Jack McLaughlin, Matt Horton and Kyle Chalmers really hang back and make their move on that last 50. It'll be tough to do that tonight because there'll be a lot of wash. All these guys are pretty evenly matched, so you don't want to let yourself get any more than half a body length behind. So I think we'll see this one right across the pool tonight. After this morning's heats, I was really impressed with Alexander Graham. Had a huge year last year, really started to realise his potential, and made a bit of a statement this morning with a PB in the heats, moving himself up the all-time rankings for Australia. He obviously wants an individual swim at this World Championships, so I expect him to push Kyle Chalmers all the way tonight, and look for Jack McLaughlin as well, I believe, to have a strong swim. He showed his form is top-notch after that 400 freestyle yesterday. I expect him to particularly finish strong that last 50 metres tonight.
Yeah, what is it? You look at Jack McLaughlin, obviously that 400 and his 200 this morning and his stroke, but exciting times for his 1500 as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how his 1500's affected by that speed he's obviously developed over this past year or so. Sometimes when you gain that little bit of extra speed, it just allows you to be that little more relaxed and comfortable on the way out. He's definitely been working on his stroke. His stroke looks better than I've ever seen it before. So obviously he and Vince Straley have been working really hard on that. And what a great year to start to find some form like he is leading into an Olympic Games. He'll become a real medal hope for us, I believe.
Yeah, all to come tonight, but right here back at this race, and 1300 metre mark, 15-16, 7-4. And still Fenella Gibbs-Beale, a 15-year-old from Noosa. And under the watchful eye of JR there, you can see.
Yeah, great pacing here from Fenella. She's built her speed across this entire race. She looks to finish strongly now, down the back 150.
And just trying to get as close to that 17-minute mark as possible. And
yeah, it looks like a bit of a barrier for the girls at the 17 minutes mark, so that'd be a nice one to start to challenge. If you look at her entry time here at 17:24, should be pretty close to that time, I'd say.
So bell lap's coming up very shortly, a final 100, and always music to the ears of a 1500 swimmer.
It must be the sweetest sound to hear for a 1500 swimmer is that bell. I often wonder if they've counted their laps or if they don't actually know where they're at.
So the turn goes there, 1400 metre mark, 100 to swim. Fenella Gibbs-Beale of Noosa is 15 years of age, leads the way in a speech of Bond out there in lane 3. And then about to get her bell as well, Lauren Maguire, a 16-year-old from Good Shepherd.
Final 50 now. Looks like they're going to be just off their entry times, but again, I can't emphasize enough how hard it is to do a 1500 freestyle in the morning.
Coming down the final few stages now will be the 15-year-old from Noosa. Fenella Gibbs-Beale takes out this first time final in the women's 1500 freestyle. And comes down to stop the clock, 17 minutes 38.25. Official results there from that first time final. And Fenella Gibbs-Beale of 17:38.25. And behind the blocks now, we'll have our last event of the morning heats program. It's time final 2 for this women's 1500 metre freestyle. Our last race of the morning, second time final, and for those not quite sure of what's going on, 3 time finals in total for the women's 1500, so they're all finals for these girls, and it'll be the fastest swim across the 3. They'll be declared our winner in that third and last time final coming up tonight, and again, as you see these girls get into their work, you look at that time final on this evening's program, and that field, Kia Melverton, second place in the 400 last night behind Ariane Titmus, has booked a spot on the plane to Gwangju, so a great opportunity for her, and just it must be such a great feeling when you book your spot and it's locked away, the pressure's off, and you can really have a free hit, a free swing, and really unload and do your best. Yeah, the pressure is off now for Kia going into tonight's 1500 free. If we look at the entry times here, she's got a TSS teammate right next to her with a very similar qualifying time, so hopefully they can push each other along tonight to try and get under that qualifying time for the World Championships, which is 16:20 actually, so yeah, they're well under that. Yeah, Kia would be feeling good after last night. She probably had a nice swim this morning, go home, have a big sleep, because the 400 free does take a lot out of you, and then buckle up for the 1500 tonight. And then you flip that, I guess, to the other side and see someone like Karina Lee who comes down and will get an open water start there at the World Champs in Korea, and then wants a bit of chlorine action as well. Yeah, we've seen a few people do it in the past. Well, Summer Maluli, what an effort, like 1500 title, and then went and won the open water. Yeah, and then in Australia we had Mel Gorman do the open water and come back and do the 1500 free at the World Champs as well. So it's definitely been done before. Be interesting to see how Karina goes tonight. How much focus she's put into this 1500 in comparison to her open water. She's got a quick entry time. She'll definitely be there or abouts. Well, a bit the same for her. Not too much pressure. She's on the team. She's got a race already. So both those two are kind of in almost a fun little spot. It's a nice place to be, where the pressure on the other girls is really to step it up. They want to have a good race, and obviously they've still got the 800 in their back pocket as well. It'd be really interesting to hear about what the mindset of an open water swimmer is coming back to a 1500 free. Obviously, most pool swimmers are very intimidated by a 1500 freestyle. It's a long race, it's a grueling race. But for someone that swims 10K as their main event, coming back to a 15 probably almost feels like a sprint. So it'd be interesting to see what the thought process is in approaching and attacking a 1500 free for an open water swimmer, and how they prepare for that. Yeah, I think we've seen in the past just a lot more fun to come down and go up at all distances. As a sprint freestyler, I always hated going up in distance. That extra lactic acid was not welcomed. Well, just if you sell a 200, how many 200s? And I've done heaps of 200s. As an age group swimmer, I was almost better at 200s than 100s. But yeah, at an open level, I did quite a few 200s as well, but just didn't enjoy them. And if you can swim shorter distances faster, I just used to question myself, why are you doing this extra 2 laps? That was always the head noise for me, turning at that 100-meter mark. Why are you doing this? But I think it draws a good comparison to that 200 tonight as well, and how critical pacing is in a 200, because if you go out too slow, you'll just never get them back. And if you go out too fast, that last lap just never ends.
Yeah, that's right. There's huge ramifications for messing up your race plan in a 200 free. If you get it wrong in that first 100, you'll no doubt pay for it in that last 50 metres. It can also be a case for some of the guys that are sprinters moving up. If they don't get in the right rhythm and let their speed carry them through that first 100, they can get stuck in the wrong timing, get stuck in more of a catch-up style stroke. And it can be hard to switch gears from that. I think we saw a little bit last night from Mac Horton. He found it a little hard to switch gears in that last 100 of the 400. He just got stuck with his timing a little bit. The same thing can happen in that 200.
And especially that final 25, when you're going to have 8 swimmers tonight as well in that 200, all within a second of each other, and some are going to be fading and some are going to be coming.
Yeah, there's no worse feeling in the world than coming down to that last 25 metres and having an empty tank. Your body gives up on you and the mind starts to play games as well. So whoever's got the most energy left in the tank that last 25 metres will no doubt be the one who takes it out. As you saw this morning, Alex Graham was willing to put it on the line and go out fast that first 100 metres. I'd say tonight he'll do the same. We'll have guys like Kyle and Jack McLaughlin, I'd say, really challenging that last 50 and trying to pick him up, particularly that last 25.
Yeah, definitely going to be a beauty on tonight's finals program. One of 5 finals coming away from 6 p.m. as the girls well and truly into their work here in this second time final of the 1500 freestyle. And Taylor Martin out there for Carlisle, a 20-year-old in lane 6. Pushing hard, but yeah, it's an interesting race, this one. Pretty close at the moment, and Martin having a big go, and Eve Lutz as well from TSS Aquatic, the 18-year-old in lane 3 right there, and so too Chelsea Gebecka, obviously young sister of Chloe Gebecka there, and older sister, sorry, the Gebecka girls, and yeah.
Yeah, an interesting race, this one. It's good that there's a few of them in that top group together. That'll push the pace along nicely. Tough race for some of the girls that have dropped off the back. They've got to work really hard now to try and catch up that front group. But this group now will spur each other on. They're looking across the pool at each other, pacing themselves. So hopefully they can get the best out of each other this morning. They really would be helping each other by sticking together, trying to push for a PB in the morning swim.
It makes a massive difference when you got someone right there, and the same in training as well. You can't train on your own.
No, absolutely.
It doesn't work. I think it's been tried. But you just need someone right there to keep you honest and just to keep pushing you along and motivate you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And these girls would have paces in training every day that they train with, so they'd be very comfortable in this position now, having swimmers either side of them to pace off. It'll just be interesting to see which one of them wants to make a break and when they do it.
So yeah, the 700, and look at the 4 just skip away. This is going to be a fantastic second half to this 1500. It's second time final, and don't forget that third and last time final coming up on tonight's program. Joining that third time final this evening. Obviously, we've spoken plenty about that men's 200 freestyle final, the women's 100 breaststroke final. Very open event, headlined by Jess Hansen, the men's 100 back. Obviously, led by Mitch Larkin, and the women's 100 back. It should be a beauty, and that phrase we'll probably say a few times across the week, that 3 doesn't go into 2, and when you've got the likes of Emily Seabaum and Minna Atherton and Kayla McEwen, bit of a shame.
Yeah, Minna Atherton made a big statement this morning. I thought her heat swim was very impressive. She'll want that individual swim.
Yeah, PB.
PB, yeah. Kayla McEwen obviously already on the team, so will she be as motivated in this one as Minna, who hasn't booked her place yet? Who knows? She'll obviously have a free hit at this one, already made the team, so no pressure. M. Seabaum probably a class ahead, but Minna Atherton, her training partner, certainly there or abouts.
What are your thoughts? You can only take, obviously, max of 2 to the Worlds and max of 2 as well to the Olympics, but what about if that's the case, and then if you swim a time that's in the top 8 fastest in the world that season, that you get a start no matter what country you come from? What do you think about something like that?
I don't mind it. The problem being you'd have
a lot of Americans,
eight Americans in every event. Some countries where they've got a huge amount of depth.
Maybe at least to give at least a third.
Yeah, look, I don't mind a third. We have 3 at the Commonwealth Games. Again, I think what you're trying to avoid is getting a podium with 3 people from the one country, which does happen quite a bit at Com Games. You get Australia gold, silver, bronze. Yep. And that probably wouldn't be a great look at an Olympic Games to have America gold, silver, bronze.
But if you're the 3rd best in the entire universe and you got to sit at home and watch it on TV, it's
tough. It's tough, but it happens. That's the sport. That's what we sign up for when we swim. And I'd say, without knowing for sure, but I'd say that's probably happened over the years. If you go back and look at Liesl, Jodie Henry, Alice Mills, I think they were almost 1, 2, 3 in the world. Even now, you look in the 100 freestyle at Kate Campbell, Bronte Campbell, Emma McKeon. Like, someone's missing out there, and that happens.
Well, yeah, especially in the US as well. You pity who had to be behind, Phelps and Lochte for almost a decade.
Yeah, and if you look at men's 100 backstroke at the moment in the US, super strong. Men's 100 butterfly, super strong. So that would be the problem if you allowed through 3 swimmers from one country.
Yeah, it definitely helps when you've got a pool of 325 million to pick from rather than, what have we got, 25?
Yeah, they've got a bit of an advantage there, but for sure we punch above our weight when it comes to swimming. We always have. Yeah,
and we touched a little bit yesterday talking about how the swimming world has expanded. It's not just the couple of big nations anymore. It's not Australia versus the US. That's long done and dusted. That's almost 20 years old now. They're going everywhere and they're coming out of the woodwork. So I guess a big positive to pull from world swimming is that diversity in the country representing it at all levels.
Yeah, world swimming has expanded vastly over the past 10 years, I would say. If you look back as far as the Sydney Olympics, most events it was Australia versus America, and particularly the relay events. Now at the World Championships, you've got challenges coming from everywhere. Asia's strong, Europe's strong, Eastern Europe's really strong. I think countries are also realising there's so many medals up for grabs in the swimming pool when it comes to an Olympic Games that it's a pretty good investment when you're looking at a medal tally to invest in swimming. And the standard of swimming across the world has risen so much as a result of that. It's so much harder now to get a gold medal at a World Championships than it was 15, 20 years ago, because there are challenges from left, right and centre. It's no longer just Australia versus America.
And those opportunities as well for swimmers from lesser countries to get a free education in the US in that college system. And we see a couple of the Aussies go over there as well, and a good chance for the hard work that they've put in through the time. And they may not be quite at that elite level and maybe just a tier below, and why not give it a go and get a free education.
Yeah, those colleges are absolute talent factories. They churn out so many great swimmers. It's something that potentially, we could start to look at more here in Australia, is how do we try and incorporate that university system into our swimming community. Obviously, again, we don't have the population that they do over in America, but it's a great opportunity for young swimmers to go overseas, get a degree for free without having that HECS debt hanging over your head, and swim at the same time in world-class programs with world-class swimmers and world-class coaches. And it's no surprise that as a result of having those systems in America, they churn out more swimmers than any other country in the world.
So back to this second time final, women's 1500 coming into the concluding stages, and just starting to skip away a little bit here. Ebony Blackstone from Yeronga Park. And, we saw Rob van der Zandt earlier this morning, big smile on his face, and he'd be enjoying, what he's seen from his swimmers over the first 2 days of competition here, racing in their home city.
Yeah, they love the tough stuff, the Yeronga Park swimmers, like we spoke about yesterday. We know they do the kilometres there, they do the work. Again, this is a really well-paced race here from Blackston in lane 4. She's built into the race nicely, looking to finish off strongly now. She's picked up the stroke rate, the kick rate, starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, so into the final 200. Definitely skipped away. Great little battle for second spot in this second time final. And doing a good job out there, Chelsea Gebecka, the Yeronga Park clubmate of Blackstone. Probably just hanging on to second at the moment. And Eve Lutz there for TSS, and Taylor Martin there for Carlisle as well. And won't be too far away from hearing that bell.
That sweet sound. See, she's probably even picking her stroke rate up again here now.
So the bell goes, 100 to swim, 15:52.06, and going to try and push hard for that 17-minute mark. Came in with a 16:57.
Yeah, she'll be
thereabouts.
Thereabouts on her entry time, provided she can pick up the pace a little bit more in this last 50, but great morning swim. Again, probably the toughest event on the program to do for a morning swim. So hats off to all these girls that are out there getting stuck into it this morning.
So down this final lap now. And it is going to be Yeronga Park, Ebony Blackstone. Great battle for second. Taylor Martin of Carlisle finishing strong in her final lap, and that 17-minute mark is going to be close and gets under it, 16:58.03. Nice swim there from Blackstone. Yeah, nice little battle for second. And look at that, 4 100ths of a second. Chelsea Gebecka, 17:2.64. Taylor Martin, 17:2.68. Four 100ths over 17 minutes.
After 17 minutes of racing, that's tight. Great race though, like we said. It's good for those girls to have each other right there so they can push each other right to the finish. Good times for those girls too, if we look at their entry times.
And then just that one swimmer to come and finish off. Looks like Bailey Day out there in lane 8, just 14 years of age. So be one of our youngest competitors here at the event. Stops the clock there just under the 18-minute mark. So as the girls leave the water there, and again a reminder, we'll see that third and last time final on tonight's program. There's your results from time final 2. Ebony Blackstone of Yeronga Park, just ahead of her Yeronga Park teammate there in Chelsea Gebecka. So on behalf of the entire Swimming Australia team, and James Magnuson and myself, Kurt Hansen, I hope you enjoyed the coverage here from the Day 2 Heats program, the 2019 Hancock Prospecting Swimming Trials. Make sure you join us tonight for that Night 2 finals from 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, whether you're watching throughout the nation or the world. And 5 big finals coming your way. That women's 100 back, men's 100 back, women's 100 breaststroke. What's going to be an electrifying men's 200 freestyle, and that third and last women's 1500 freestyle time final. Spots up for grabs in Gwangju, Korea. That World Championships in just 5 weeks' time. So until then, Hope you have a great day, and we'll see you this evening for Night 2 finals. And on behalf of the entire team, we'd like to thank our technical officials for their efforts across this morning's Heats program. We now invite them to leave from pool deck.
To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed with the time. I've been training really well and I thought I might have had a 3:58 in me. I definitely felt the sting a little bit the last 100, and I know that I went out hard, so that's probably why, and with a bit more of a rest leading into a meet, hopefully that will help me. You know, I haven't really rested for this either, so I want to really capitalise on my swims at Worlds, and so to train all the way through this, hopefully with a rest for Worlds, I can produce something even better.
It's going to be tight. 3:59.35, a new Commonwealth record.
Those two guys are two of the best in the world. I think coming into this, they were like 3 in the top 6 maybe in the world. So, you know, it's very, very tough having to only 2 spots. So, yeah, getting the W there is really big and a lot of confidence.
Come down, a great swim, 3:44, 3:4, Jack McLaughlin, Matt Horton there in second, 3:46, 4:7.
Oh, obviously, yes. I mean, so much effort has gone behind it, and to come out with a PB tonight is awesome. My biggest thing is working on those skills, and I think I've done that tonight. Obviously takes the pressure off for the rest of the week, so I'm super stoked with that. So on the team with a bunch of good people.
I was actually expecting a lot faster than that, just because this morning felt so easy, but I guess you never know what, around this time you don't know what you're going to get, and I got my spot on the Worlds team, so I can't really be disappointed with that. I think now that my training's just as good, and then my strength is even better than it was then, so I think I can drop a bit of time.
So Wayne racing in the final events, 100 breaststroke, and great matchup.